Okay, I'm doing without the PowerPoint for this section. I will just review what we have looked at and continue on the same argument. We're looking at the design argument for the existence of God. That's the title of lesson number 17. And this argument is simply that we observe in nature, in creation around us, intelligent, deliberate design. It doesn't show accident or chance or coincidence. A certain intelligent, deliberate design, and that natural processes, random processes cannot account for the detailed, deliberate, intentional, purposeful, intelligent design in all of creation. Let me just sum up what the PowerPoint showed us in the first session of our apologetics class. I focused on three design features in the human body or in life in general. The first had to do with DNA. The second had to do with ATP synthase. And the third had to do with kinesin motor. Now, because I have such graphic information to illustrate these points, I'm going to be looking at some of these illustrations after I sum up each of the design features. First of all, the DNA. What I have noticed about DNA is that we often function like DNA. Believe it or not, I'll soon explain. Every one of us functions like DNA. Now, what DNA is, it has all the instructions or guidelines for the development of different parts of the cell or the development of specialized cells that can form organs in the body, and the development of systems in the body, different organs that make up a system, so that when these cells and organs and systems work, it is not by accident that they work. It is something that was planned. It was pre-programmed. It was prearranged. The information for the cell, the organ, and the system to work in particular ways was already written down, encoded in the genes of the DNA. Now, why I say we are like DNA is that we have to think before as to what we're going to do. For example, about 2 nights ago, it came into my mind suddenly, I need to get ready the rent money because the rent will soon be due. And I had forgotten about the rent, but it came into my mind that the following day I will need to have that rent paid because I may not have the time later on to pay it. Especially how Friday is so crowded. Okay, from 9:30 right back till 3:30. I may not have enough time. So I planned in my mind what I was going to do on Thursday. That on the way over, I was going to stop at the bank. Hopefully I would be able to leave home early enough to stop at the bank and get some money so that I could pay the rent after classes were finished at 12:30 yesterday. Because 12:30 gives me more time to go to the bank than 3:30 on a Friday does. And I thought of all the other things I needed to do. And I had this carefully planned out in my mind. Usually I write it down in a book, in a diary. And I followed it step by step. I had planned before what I was going to do on Wednesday night. So when Thursday came, I did just like what I had planned. Well, the DNA operates like that. It has all the different instructions for how the cell is to work and what it is to do. And then it acts on the information and it does the work. How did that get here? People who are professors of physics, physics deals with natural processes, how these natural processes interact with each other. But professors of physics admit they do not know how atoms were able to produce any of the information that is in DNA. And so they admit that they don't understand how the information could have come into the cell in the first place. Now, what I am saying to you is this: all information has to come from a mind. The medium or the means by which that information is shared can be a material thing. For example, if I were to take chalk and write on a board, it is not the chalk dust itself that produces the information on the board. It is only the means by which the information is written. But the information itself is coming from where? From the mind. I'm only using the chalk as the means of communicating that information. Or the information that is on the PowerPoint slide. That didn't come from the PowerPoint software. The PowerPoint software indeed was used, but the information that is in that PowerPoint came from where? The mind. And so it is in the DNA of each cell. The DNA has 3 billion letters. And each letter has more than one meaning. It's complex, not just one meaning. It has several different possible meanings. And how did all of that information get in there so that it is responsible for the creation of every part of the body? It is responsible for the development of the embryo into a child. And it is still responsible for the growth of the body right throughout life till death. How did that information get there? It must have come from someone who is far more intelligent than any human being. So let us look at this, this animation of what is happening in the cell. This is the DNA.
This animation demonstrates how the digital information encoded within DNA is used to direct protein synthesis. This is a DNA double helix containing the digital code which directs the cell in all aspects of operation. And here we see a protein complex called an RNA polymerase traveling down the DNA strand. As it moves down the strand, it carefully unwinds the DNA, preparing it for transcription. Inside the polymerase, we see a single-stranded copy of the original instructions being assembled as individual bases are positioned and added to the growing strand. A stop code marks the end of the protein specification, at which point this copy, known as a messenger RNA transcript, exits the polymerase and heads towards a 2-part chemical manufacturing machine called the ribosome. While the messenger RNA moves towards the ribosome, transfer RNA molecules attach to specific amino acids in preparation for assembly. As the messenger RNA transcript passes through the ribosome, the process of translation begins. Using the instructions encoded on the messenger RNA as a template, the transfer RNA molecules align specific sequences of bases to corresponding amino acids, creating a protein chain. As this chain exits the ribosome, it is met by chaperones which prevent premature folding, while escorting the protein to a barrel-shaped machine called a chaperoning. This machine helps fold the protein into the precise shape required to perform its function. Although it is unclear how the chaperoning achieves this, we do know that accurate folding is essential in order for the protein to accomplish its intended function. Once the protein is complete, it is released into the cytoplasm to do its job.
So that shows quite detailed planning and could not have come by accident. Now the next design feature, not this one, but it's ATP synthase. Now there was an atheist that was well known in the world by the name of Anthony Flew. He was a philosopher and an atheist. He died a few years ago. But when I was a student overseas in the United States, there was a great debate held between a minister of the Church of Christ and Anthony Flew. It was called the Warren-Flew debate on the existence of God. But in later years, when the ATP synthase was discovered by scientists, and it was said to be the tiniest motor in the universe, Anthony Flew took a close look at that motor, and he realized, how could such an intelligent design like this motor that produces life within the cell of every living thing have come about by chance? It doesn't make any sense. And so he gave up his atheism and he wrote a book why he believes that there is a God. Okay, so this was so powerful to Anthony Flew that he gave up his atheism. Now, what is ATP synthase? It is a motor that has several parts working together. It generates by turning around. It turns on different parts, and as it turns, it generates what is called adenosine triphosphate, which is a basic substance that is needed for life to begin. It's like, I would compare it to electricity. It's a power that causes every part of the cell, organ, and system to work. And without it, life would not start. And so this is an animation of this motor. And look at it and tell me if this could have happened by chance. Let's have the lights.
This animated sequence shows the ATP synthase enzyme in operation. The animation is based on an incredible series of scientific discoveries. Only the colors show artistic license. ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, is the energy currency of the cell. ATP is produced by a tiny molecular rotary motor, rotating at up to 7,000 RPM. These are so small that 100,000 would fit side by side in a millimeter. A current of protons drives the motor, unlike man-made electric motors, which use electrons. This portion of the enzyme is where adenosine diphosphate is combined with a phosphate ion in the presence of a catalyst to produce ATP, which is then released, making way for the next cycle. A top view of the enzyme shows the sequential operation. Almost every biochemical process in your body requires ATP. Such a nanomachine exhibits all the characteristics of super-intelligent design. ATP is vital for life, and many of these motors were needed before the first living cell could exist. an evolutionary impossibility.
Okay, in the third design feature, we looked at kinesin motor. Kinesin means moving, and motor is an engine that causes movement. These are like stick men that walk about in your cell, carrying a large bag of proteins. And they lift up their legs like this, and come down, lift up another leg like this, dragging the bag, and they take it to different addresses in the cell that they already know. And these work even without you even knowing that they exist. And here is what they look like.
Inside a living cell is an amazing transportation system. Proteins have to be delivered to the correct part of the cell to perform their intended functions. This animation, based on a lot of clever research over a number of years, shows how it happens. Highways made of microtubules are assembled by interlocking proteins, each manufactured in accordance with the coded instructions on the cell's DNA. Marching along a microtubule is the kinesin motor, the hero of our story, carrying a huge sack of proteins to be delivered to a predetermined place in the cell. Here, the proteins will be released to fulfill their functions. A kinesin linear motor uses one ATP to provide the energy for each step and takes 125,000 steps to cover 1 millimeter. This amazing machine shows all the hallmarks of design.
Okay, and so in the first section of our apologetics class, we saw that intelligent design in nature means that there is a super intelligent mind, that is God, who designed and created all these things. Natural, random, accidental, and chance processes cannot explain the design features of DNA, ATP synthase, and kinesin motor, for they are so highly complex that no human mind has been able to imitate the creation of any of these design features. And then I looked at other design features not in the PowerPoint. I looked at the fact that there are tiny holes on our skin called pores, and when the temperature gets to a certain level, lest we burn up by the sunlight, there is a design feature that causes water from under the skin to well up or spring up onto the surface of the skin and run down and cool our skin. That couldn't have happened by accident. That shows forethought and intelligent planning to get around that problem. Another design feature that we looked at is the chlorophyll, the green pigment that is in most vegetation, whether it's the grass or the leaves of trees or the leaves of plants. And the green color actually has a lot of tiny solar panels. That is why it has the color green. A lot of tiny solar panels that get energy from the sunlight, combines that energy with water from the ground that comes from the root system, and also combines it with the carbon dioxide that all creatures breathe out in order to produce a starchy substance that can feed itself. Now, if it didn't have that mechanism for feeding itself, it wouldn't be able to survive because it is rooted in one place and it can't walk up and down and apply for a job. So it has to be able to feed itself. And so we find there is an interaction between the sun, the solar panels in the green chlorophyll pigment, purposeful, deliberate, intentional, planned design. We also looked at the design of a mother's milk. When I was in antenatal classes with my wife, she was pregnant, and we were attending classes to help us know how my wife could strengthen her muscles, that she would have less difficulty and less pain in bearing a child. And the one who was in charge of the classes told me something I'd never known before, that the first substance that comes out of the mother's breast to feed the child is not milk. After that, the white substance milk begins to come to feed the child with all the necessary vitamins and minerals and proteins for growth. And so we again see intelligent, purposeful, planned design. It does not show any accidental or coincidental design. In fact, design by its very nature shows that it takes intelligence and planning. So everything around us that has life shows that there is an intelligent design. And intelligence that is seen in this design means that there must be a super intelligent designer who made all these things. Romans chapter 1 verse 20